Hi everybody, it's Christina from Card Making Magic. This is this month's free gift with Creative Stamping issue 44, and this is a large A4 stamp set called Timeless Moments. Now every month this stamp set will feature a new designer and their stamps will be in this particular corner of the set. So this month we have the Signature Collection from Sarah Davis. So also with this magazine there is a reader offer, and that is to get the large numbers and the suffixes at a discounted price. Every one of these dies will fit over the numbers in the set. Now on this stamp set you have the opportunity to turn all these numbers into ages with the additions along here. You can also use different anniversaries or birthdays, and we have a key and a lock. So there's lots on this stamp set to help you be creative with your cards. Here are some of the cards that I've come up with. So for this one I've used this particular stamp at the top, and I've just stamped it randomly onto my card and coloured it with some watercolours. I've used the 70 and I've used the dies to cut them out, and I've just stamped the birthday greeting onto separate cards. Now for this one I've used the same floral display, but I've added it to a round card, and I've used the little verse at the bottom that says "You don't look a day over fabulous." And what I've done with both of these is add glossy accents to the numbers so that they have some gloss to them. I've also sprinkled glitter into this one. Now for this one I've very carefully positioned my dies so that they can cut out as I need them. But once I've used the dies, once I've taken the numbers out of the sheet, I can then use this as the front of my card and I've embossed it, or I can use this as a stencil for some other cards. So the numbers that I cut for this one were the 16, and I've added them to some parchment and put some stitching around the side. But the negative part that came from that I cut into a circle, and I've just turned that into a shaker card. So there you have two cards for one. Now for this card I've used gold embossing powder to stamp the numbers out, and again I've used the floral stamps, but this time I've fussy cut around them and I've decoupaged them up onto the front of my card. Now for this one I've used the 80, and I've really made this into something special, and it says "Happy birthday Nana," because any Nana that's turning 80 deserves a special card. And for this last one I've simply used the stamps, and all I've done is added the clock to some round circles, and this one says "After 30 a body has a mind of its own," and I've just embellished it with some stitching around the edge. So there you've got some really pretty ideas on how to use this particular gift, and I'm going to share another one with you as we go through the video. So to create my card, these are the things that I'm going to be using. For my base I've taken the largest die from the stitched and pierced rectangles, and I've cut 3 panels. 2 will make my base, and the third one I will be colouring. From the dies from the stitched and pierced circles dies I've created a frame, and with the cogwheel stamp that's in the free gift I've stamped around the edge, and then I've picked out the piercing and the stitching that's in it. From the smallest, or the next to the smallest one, I've cut a circle right in the middle of some paper, and that will help me to do my stenciling and not spoil my card. I've also cut myself a circle in some parchment, and I've cut the numbers that I need and the TH to turn that into an 18th birthday card from the numbers set. So the first thing I need to do is create my background, and I'm using this circle as my stencil. So this is the one that I want to colour, and these are the colours that I'm going to use. So I'm going to place my circle over the top of my card, and then using one of my colours I'm going to add this ink into that circle. So I'm starting with Twisted Citron, and I've got ink on my sponge, and I'm just lightly going over the area. Now just blotting it off just takes the surplus, and I'm keeping it darker at the bottom and fading out to paler at the top. Now when I move that away, I have that circle on my card. So now I can reposition this and I can change my colours and try a different colour. So now we'll go in with this one. Now another thing that I'm going to do on some of the circles is, while the stencil's in place, I'm going to take another stencil and I'm going to add this to the top, and then I'm going to make sure I've got more ink on my sponge, and I'm just going to go over that stencil. So now when I move that and this, I have that pattern in my card. Now I'm going to carry on filling in more of my my square with different colours, and then we'll see what the finished result looks like at the end. Once you're happy with your stencil design, don't forget to clean your stencils of the ink that you've just put on them. Otherwise this will transfer to your next design when you want to use the stencils. So I'm just using a baby wipe and some kitchen towel just to dry these off. Put them away and they're ready for use again. Now these are the colours that I've used to create my background, and just by varying the pressure through the stencil puts the pattern into your circles. Now I'm going to use the happy birthday sentiment from the pack, and I'm going to use old paper and add some happy birthday greetings to this design. The thing I want to do is take a very pale colour, and this is cracked pistachio, and I'm going to just add the cogwheels to my design, just in random areas along the card. And I'm not going to add too many, so we'll just add these along there, and I think that will be fine. Now with another colour from the ones that I've used and my created circle, I'm going to take the Twisted Citron and I'm going to stamp up the cogwheels. And just so that I don't get ink all over my mat, I'm going to place this on some spare paper, and I'm just going to stamp this around the card. So now I've got my numbers and they're cut in glitter card, and I'm going to add these to my piece of parchment. And they've got foam pads on the back just to raise them up a little bit. I'm going to add these along here. I'm just going to glue the TH in place along there, and I've got my birthday sentiment, and that's been stamped, and that's also on foam pads. And once I have the numbers in place on the parchment, I've put foam pads behind so that they can't be seen from the front, and I'm just adding a little bit of extra glue to keep that in place, and that's going to sit along there. And then with my sentiment, I've got foam pads on the back. Now if you remember, there's foam pads under this as well, so this side will need to be raised up just a little bit more with some extra foam. And that will help that to sit nice and neatly on the card. Now once I've got to that stage, I can take my base card. I've folded this one back. I'm going to glue that edge along there to this card, and that will give me my base, and then I can add all this to the front of my card. And now the last thing I want to do is just add in some sequins along the front. So here's another look at some of my ideas using this stamp set, and all these beautiful cards are made with the A4 size stamp set that is free with Creative Stamping issue 44. So these are all the items I've used in the making of these cards: the stencils, the dies, the distress inks and the tin, as well as the sponges, are all available from craftstash.co.uk. Here's another look at the stamp set that is free with Creative Stamping issue 44, and this is Timeless Moments. The dies are on special discounted price through the magazine, and all these dies will fit this stamp set. So I do hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please join me on the next one. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.